All my life, I've been hunting since a young age. I've been around deer hunting and small game hunting my entire life. So it comes as no surprise that I also wanted it to be a part of my life as I got older. I started deer hunting at 12 years old. First day out, I was able to get a doe. Hunted the next day, seen a buck, shot at it, missed, and that started the story right there of never being able to get a buck with a gun. Rifle season is supposed to be a whole lot easier than archery season. That's why it's a shorter season. But for whatever reason, for 18 years, I was unable to be successful in rifle season. If I didn't get a buck in archery season, it was for sure going to be buckless in rifle as well. So just a little backstory of how all this plays out. I hunted all archery season last year of the 2021 season. Never really getting great opportunities at bucks. They were either too far away, in brush, or just not big enough. There was one buck on the property that I really wanted to try to get. I had nicknamed him Unicorn, and for obvious reasons, he just had a straight horn coming up on one side with two brow tines coming off the back, and then a normal rack on the other. Very unique deer. That was my deer that I wanted to try to get just because of his uniqueness. It's not often you see a deer like that. So I had a few encounters with him throughout the year. The closest being 20 yards behind my tree stand, dead downwind of me during the rut. And last year the rut for me just was lackluster at best, dealing with people trespassing, and just it was a little warm last year, and that kind of keeps the activity to a minimal in my opinion. So I ended up hunting all of archery season and never getting a good opportunity at a shooter buck. Rifle season rolls around. It starts on a Saturday morning. I'm out, doe everywhere, which is very typical for this property. We very rarely ever shoot doe. We let the farmer take care of that. And I remember it being just god awful windy that day. And I knew the next day was going to be calm. And I figured this is going to be the best day I have to get a deer, because I don't think there was a whole lot of shooting going on because the deer weren't moving the day before because of the wind. So Sunday morning rolls around. I get up into the tree stand overlooking a power line that they cut like every 4 years, and it's on its like third year of growth. So it's thick, it's nasty. You got bedding all throughout the whole power line, and the whole morning I'm just covered up with doe. Just absolutely doe behind me, doe out in the power line. Hardly even able to film them just because they were a little leery, and I didn't want to ruin anything. So once the doe kind of went away, it was about 10 o'clock.
Probably until 10 o'clock today. Get back in here. I like getting down a little earlier than everyone else, and then getting back in when everyone else is leaving.
I got down, went home, just to warm up a bit, get some lunch. What I like doing is coming back into the tree stand around when everyone else is leaving. So the property I'm hunting is like 20 acres. It's not real big. All the other neighbors hunt. They're out there. They're the typical hunter. They hunt till lunchtime, go home, and then they're back out around 2. Well, when other people are out walking around, I want to be in the tree stand. So I'm home for maybe an hour. I get back. I get into the tree. It's like 11:30. I get set up, get all the camera gear set up, and I sit back and just figure, you know what, at least I'm out. We didn't really have any great bucks on camera on the property. We had one buck that was decent, but he had broken off half his rack. So, in my opinion, I wanted to let him go. So I knew he was going to be much bigger next year. So after about 45 minutes of sitting there, I see this black thing coming down the power line. We have like a 4-wheeler trail on the power line that we keep cut. Essentially, it's just a deer trail for the deer to use. It's a guy walking down the power line Sunday at lunchtime. And I could tell he had never been on the property before. There's a bulldozer on the property that's been sitting there for about 15 years, and he's looking at that kind of thinking like, oh, I wonder what that's doing there. And as he's doing that, the deer like to bed right behind that bulldozer. And I see all the deer get up and just scatter up into the neighbor's property. So I'm pretty pissed off. I called my dad. I was like, hey, what should I do? Do I get down and go confront him? Or do I just play it out and see what happens? Well, while I'm on the phone with him, having this conversation, the guy begins walking right down the power line towards me. Never notices me. Obviously, I have my orange on, my orange vest, hat. The guy never notices me. And he gets within 50 yards, and I start the confrontation.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Walking.
It's private property. Are you going to just stare at me? Are you going to just stare at me? You're on private property.
Whose property is this? Okay, sorry.
What are you driving it out?
I just walk the valley sometimes.
Well, turn around, go back the way you came.
I didn't realize it was hunt season today.
Yeah.
All right, sorry to bother you.
All right.
Yeah, looking back on this encounter with this guy now, there's a very good chance he might have been having some mental issues. At the time, I was just furious that someone was walking through the property that we've never, in 15, 16 years of hunting there, we've never had an issue with somebody trespassing, ever. So I told the guy, you need to go back the way you came. I wanted him to go back to the road. He can finish his walk on the road. I did not want him walking through the rest of the property. And I called the landowner to let him know someone was walking on his property. And ended up calling my dad back. I was like, what do I do? Do I just go home and bag it for the day? He goes, no, just stay. You never know what's going to happen. All right, that's fine. So probably 15 minutes later, I hear some rustling in the brush behind me, real close. And I'm thinking, all right, this guy had to have been driving it out, and I have another guy behind me, either coming to confront me, or he got lost and turned around and he's just heading towards the power line because it's more open. And wouldn't you know it, there's two doe coming out from a spot that I had never seen deer come out of before. I'm figuring, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to get one of these doe. They look mature. There's two of them. I'm just going to pick whatever one's bigger, make sure it wasn't a button buck. I get the gun up, and I still hear more commotion behind me. And that's when I seen this buck right here over my shoulder. I had never seen him before. I don't know if when that guy walked back, I know he didn't go the exact same way I told him to. He kind of cut through our food plot and in front of our other tree stand. So I don't know if he had looped behind me and ended up kicking up these deer. I have no idea where that guy ended up going. All I knew is that I had a buck that was legal and decent enough that I was going to shoot it because I had never gotten a buck with a gun at 10 yards. And all I needed him to do was take 3 more steps out into the power line, and he was going to be toast. Broadside, 10 yards, done. Well, that didn't happen. He knew something was up, didn't like the situation at all. So instead of coming out and following the doe, like I thought he was going to do, he ends up taking about 4 or 5 more steps towards me. At that point, I knew he was going to be crossing my scent trail within another 5 steps, and I wasn't going to have it. I raised the gun up, and all I can see is just brush everywhere. So I turn the zoom down on the scope, and I'm thinking to myself, it's 10 yards or less. I have a 30-06 shooting 180 grain bullets. It would take a pretty massive sapling for me to not get through that sapling. So in the 10 seconds I had to make the decision of whether or not to shoot, The buck's really starting to act anxious. And I'm thinking, man, I got to take this shot or I am going to be absolutely screwed and I'm never going to get this deer. So I locate his horns, go down his body and back a little bit. And I'm thinking that's got to be his shoulder there. I have a small, just tiny little window that I could see through. I take the shot. He didn't drop right away after the shot, and instantly I'm worried. Thinking, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I know it was only 10 yards, but instantly I had regret of pulling the trigger. So right away I get on the phone with my dad. I shot one. I shot a buck. I'm crying, 18 years. I thought that I had messed up the shot. So my dad wasn't on the property with me. He was over on some public land doing some doe hunting. And he goes, don't get down. I'll come to you. Just stay put.
Oh my God, guys. I gotta watch this footage back now. I've been hunting for 18 years, and I've never shot one with a gun. Hopefully, I just did that. I'm first of all, I'm sorry I didn't get better footage. They kind of caught me off guard. And secondly, I did not have much time. I just was not ready. I was thinking about getting down. And I don't know if that freaking guy ended up walking behind me and pushing it out and pushed those deer up to me, which is possible, because he kind of skirted back behind me. I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm going to try to have some self-control here and not get down and look for this deer.
Well, I didn't wait. As soon as I got off the phone, lowered the gun down, got down, I go over to the point of impact, and I see fur everywhere.
Well, I definitely hit him. A lot of hair there. Don't see any blood yet, but I am also very colorblind. So I definitely hit him though. So let's hope my dad gets down here ASAP and gives me a hand looking for this thing.
Right away, I knew, okay, I made contact with the deer, and I get down on my hands and knees. I couldn't see any blood, but I'm also colorblind. So seeing blood is not the easiest thing for me. It's got to be big globs of blood for me to really be able to be like, yes, that is blood. So I'm on my hands and knees, and as I got lower, I could see through the underbrush of the property. And I didn't see a deer laying there. But after I had shot, you always listen for that crash. The deer had ran and then stopped. And I didn't ever hear him take any more steps. So I'm thinking, all right, at least I know I made impact. So I kind of work my way away from that, and I'm kind of just hanging out around the tree, waiting for my dad. And we take up blood when he gets there.
All right. There's the first sign of blood. Shot him right up there.
And we're finding, decent blood. And it gets to another deer trail that they use real heavily. And we don't know which way he went. So we're looking and looking. And then I see it. The white belly. He's down.
Hoping you can see the belly thing here. Hey, what's that? Right there? No. There's a dead deer right there. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that thing. how you saw that thing that far away. I was looking for blood.
I got those eagle eyes. Oh my gosh. Come here. Oh. First rifle buck ever after 18 years.
19 or 20 years to get the first one on.
Yeah, really nice 8-point. He looks just almost identical to the one that I shot last year.
And I'm positive we don't have any pictures of this deer. Maybe last night. Maybe.
It's probably what the shooting was that you heard.
He's been rubbing and stuff. But I'm 99% sure we don't have any pictures of this. This isn't the one that walked by the camera. The tactic cam up there the other night. And you said that looked like my... So I go running over to him. We're hugging, high-fiving, the whole 9 yards. And it's absolutely unbelievable that we've never seen this buck before. You know, we run cell cameras and trail cameras all year round and never had seen that buck. Yeah, that is the story of the buck that took me 18 years to get.
Yeah, that's a nice buck, huh?